The Trojan War. More than 1,000 years before Christ, near the eastern end of the Mediterranean, was a great city, very rich and powerful, second to none on earth. The name of it was Troy, and even today no city is more famous. The cause of this long-lasting fame was a war told in one of the world's greatest poems, the Iliad. For 9 years, victory wavered, now to this side, now to that. Neither was ever able to gain any decided advantage. Then a quarrel flared up between two Greeks, Achilles and Agamemnon, and for a time it turned the tide in favor of the Trojans. Again a woman was the reason. Chryseis, daughter of Apollo's priest, whom the Greeks had carried off and given to Agamemnon. Her father came to beg for her release, but Agamemnon would not let her go. Then the priest prayed to the mighty god he served, and Phoebus Apollo heard him. From his sun chariot he shot fiery arrows down upon the Greek army, and men sickened and died, so that the funeral pyres were burning continually. At last Achilles called an assembly of the chieftains. He told them that they could not hold out against both the pestilence and the Trojans, and that they must either find a way to appease Apollo or else sail home. Then the prophet Calchas stood up and said he knew why the god was angry, but that he was afraid to speak unless Achilles would guarantee his safety. "I do so," Achilles answered, "even if you accuse Agamemnon himself." Every man there understood what that meant. They knew how Apollo's priest had been treated. When Calchas declared that Chryseis must be given back to her father, he had all the chiefs behind him, and Agamemnon, greatly angered, was obliged to agree. "But if I lose her, who was my prize of honor," he told Achilles, "I will have another in her stead." Therefore, when Chryseis had been returned to her father, Agamemnon sent 2 of his squires to Achilles' tent to take his prize of honor away from him, the maiden Briseis. Most unwillingly, they went and stood before the hero in heavy silence. But he, knowing the errand, told them it was not they who were wronging him. Let them take the girl without fear for themselves, but hear him first while he swore before gods and men that Agamemnon would pay dearly for their deed. That night Achilles' mother, silver-footed Thetis, the sea nymph, came to him. She was as angry as he. She told him to have nothing more to do with the Greeks, and with that she went up to the heaven and asked Zeus to give success to the Trojans. Zeus was very reluctant. The war by now had reached Olympus. The gods were ranged against each other. Aphrodite, of course, was on the side of Paris. Equally, of course, Hera and Athena were against him. Ares, god of war, always took sides with Aphrodite, while Poseidon, lord of the sea, favored the Greeks, a sea people, always great sailors. Apollo cared for Hector and for his sake helped the Trojans, and Artemis, as his sister, did so too. Zeus liked the Trojans best, on the whole, but he wanted to be neutral because Hera was so disagreeable whenever he opposed her openly. However, he could not resist Thetis. He had a hard time with Hera, who guessed, as she usually did, what he was about. He was driven finally into telling her that he would lay hands upon her if she did not stop talking. Hera kept silence then, but her thoughts were busy as to how she might help the Greeks and circumvent